Cowboys still got something to play for at 12-4, looking to go 13-4. Reds, look, this is a team that's looking to win 25 games. If they win on Sunday, they will have won 25 games over the last 2 seasons under head coach Mike McCarthy. But the question that you posed as we got ready for the show tonight, is there anything to be of concern about going into this game on Sunday against the Washington Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, I think more particularly the question I ask is, do you have any doubt going into this game? Because I know that for us on this show in particular, we have really just talked about the playoff implications, the way that this team looks going into the playoffs, and we have not talked about this particular game. I mean, it's Thursday going into a game weekend, and I mean, I guess to kind of pull back the curtain, but I feel like any observer would know it's almost formulaic in the ways that we talk about this. Monday is clearly a football Monday where we're going to react to what happened. Tuesday, we'll further dig in. Wednesday is kind of a dealer's choice, but by Thursday, you are absolutely focusing on the next game. Except, for the most part, we have all been kind of skipping this game forward to talk about the playoffs. Obviously, some of this is because we know that the Cowboys are in. And some of this is also because the Cowboys are a 7-point favorite, and I think a lot of us feel like even that is, maybe a little bit on the low side because Washington, as of right now, doesn't have anything to play for. And the Cowboys are in some ways a long shot for that other stuff. Plus, all of that other stuff does not necessarily fall on their shoulders. They are simply in this place where they are a better team playing against a not very good team who has nothing to play for, and everybody goes, all right, that's a win. So, with that being said, do you have any concerns about them playing the Washington Commandos, who will be starting Sam Howell at quarterback, quite literally a rookie who has never started an NFL regular season game? This is as you mentioned, a battered and bruised Washington Commando team, and this is a very good Cowboys team. Do you have any doubts, any considerations? From the 817 on the TruckWreck.com text line, they say if you don't have any doubt heading into every Cowboys game, you need to start paying attention. And how do you feel about that as a response? Because, I don't know, I feel like it's easy for us when we're really close to have, get fearful and fretful of certain things when, you look around the league and this is still, a fairly well-positioned team. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to negate the fact that they consistently find a way to have an issue, right? There is always an issue. We were talking about it in the break before Crosstalk. How Voch Lombardi, friend of the show, has got something. Him and Skywalker still, they got someone with this, peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter jam or however you want to call it. Because it's it feels like the Cowboys don't never got both of them at the same time. You got something there. I absolutely see that, and I don't want to negate that. That being said, this has been a team that has managed to overcome those things. And so again, with the team that is not very good, with a team that is starting a rookie quarterback, I wonder what are the doubts that people have coming in, or if there are any.
When it comes to the outcome of this game, I don't have any doubt in the way that this should play out on Sunday. The Cowboys should win this game and win this game comfortably. The biggest question I have is, or any concern that I have, is health, because this team is still playing for something, and they're going to go about this game as if it were a regular season game. Mm-hmm. So your starters are going to play a majority of this game unless the game just completely gets out of hand. So the biggest concern is getting out of there healthy, finding yourself playing with the kind of rhythm that allows you to go into the playoffs feeling good about your performance, because you don't want to go into the playoffs, with a bad performance in the final game of the season, even if it is in a win over an inferior opponent, because what you cannot do is allow yourself to feel that way going into most likely Tampa, knowing that if you do not come with your A game, Tom Brady and this team could find a way to beat you, even with them being inferior to you as well, given what we've seen from Tampa through the course of this year. But that would be probably the only doubt that I would have is, how does this team come out of this game healthy? Because as you mentioned, a Washington team that's banged up, but also a Cowboys team that's dealing with injuries of their own. DeMarcus Lawrence limited in practice today with a foot injury. Leighton Vander Esch was limited in his work, but he's moving toward coming back for this team and getting ready for the playoffs. Kelvin Joseph was back as a full participant today in practice. And the good news, Tony Pollard, full participant in practice both yesterday and today as he deals with that thigh injury. So the Cowboys, as healthy as they can be relative to what they've lost so far this year, but as far as the outcome of this game, there is no doubt in my mind what should happen on Sunday between the Cowboys and Washington.
From the 469, we doubted Jacksonville, remember? And I understand.
Jacksonville's a better football team than them.
I will let you handle this then. I mean,
that's a game that you look at and you say they've got, good skill players between Lawrence and Marvin Jones.
Oh, you can stop there. I don't know why you kept going.
But Washington's an inferior football team. They're starting a rookie quarterback in Sam Howell.
But that also means you don't know exactly what's happening with him.
Well, that also means, but he also doesn't know what he's seen either. So that works both ways. And if you're the Cowboys and Dan Quinn, you are looking at this opportunity, to get after a limited offense. I know they got some good skill players, obviously, with Terry McLaurin there as well. But Sam Howell's going to be a deer in the headlights, and you need to make sure that he feels that way all day long with what should be, speaking of getting right, a pass rush that should have the ability to get right against this Washington offensive line.
Well, you kind of tapped on some of my minor doubts because, again, I am largely in a place where you are, where, look, this is not not as good of a team as the Cowboys. The Cowboys should win this game. You started talking about the defense. What happens if it doesn't look like you can get to the quarterback, even with the circumstances as they, stand with Washington and, the quarterback that they have? How do you feel at that point? Also, your cornerbacks, your secondary that we understand has had some issues, and Deshaun Wright, while, being a rookie and he's played very well, there's been some ups and downs. This wide receiving core for the Commandos, understanding that the quarterback is not one who has any experience. We know of Terry McLaurin. You also got Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel. Those ain't no slouches. So, at any given point, your man Deron Bland and your man Deshaun Wright will be covering two of those three. And that's not a fun proposition, like the ways in which maybe you can end up seeing chunk plays that would make me feel kind of disconcerted. I think those are a couple of things that I am also in the place of having some concerns about. But otherwise, I still do think that even if those guys end up going out, you end up finding yourself in a close game as opposed to a game that you lose. But hey, again, I've been in this place, and I know the truckwreck.com text line and a lot of the Tolos will say that we've been in this place and you found yourself in close games with teams that you shouldn't have. I get it, and I'm not trying to ignore that. I just find it hard to go against the basic logic of the things that we've laid out here.
The common denominator of that in those close games that they have played against inferior opponents, for the most part, they've won those games. And that's why they're sitting there at 12-4 with a chance to get to 13-4 on Sunday. The scenario goes like this. The Cowboys win on Sunday and the Eagles lose. They will be the winners of the NFC East. Now, if the Cowboys win and the Eagles win, the Eagles will be the number one seed in the NFC and will have home field advantage throughout the course of the playoffs. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting. If the Cowboys win, the Eagles lose, and the 49ers lose.
Yeah, good luck.
Your Dallas Cowboys then become the number one seed in the playoffs and have home field advantage and win the NFC East. They become the number 2 seed if the Cowboys win, the Eagles lose, but the 49ers handle business against Arizona.
That's what
on
I
Sunday.
Personally.
Otherwise, the Cowboys will be no lower than the 5th seed, and they will travel to Tampa to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, what's interesting is you're hearing reports out of New York that the way that the practice was looking today, it looks like the Giants are going to be sitting several of their starters against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday.
Lied?
Bruh.
He lied?
I tried. It's funny because when people started putting out that tweet about Daboll, and I, put it out myself, but I couched it with, we'll see if he keeps this tune all week long as the season or as the week goes on. And Pat Leonard, who covers the Giants out there, I believe for the New York Daily News, I believe is what it is. I'll make sure to credit exactly when I see it. But he's like, yeah, there were several.
He does work for the New York Daily News.
Okay, thank you. There were several Giants players that were not on the practice field today. And it's Thursday. And normally when you get to Thursday, your starters are out there practicing to getting ready to play for Sunday. There weren't a bunch of them out there.
Daboll lied. That's crazy.
So there.
He said you could rest when you're dead or something like that?
And something like that.
In the off season?
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. So that's where we are now. So most likely your Cowboys are going to be headed to Tampa to take on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's why they play the games. Cowboys kick off at 3:25 here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, 105 through the Fan. That game can also be seen on Fox as Tom Rinaldi, who will join the pregame show, the official Dallas Cowboys pregame show on Sunday. You don't want to miss that. He'll be on the call with Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson, and Aaron Andrews. And, of course, Brad Sham, the voice of America's team, Babe Laufenberg, and Christy Scales will have you covered all day long. Final note on that game on Sunday, Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Giants, 49ers, Cardinals all will play at the same time at 3:25 on Sunday. So none of those 6 teams will know the outcome of each other's games until after they have concluded, just adding to the drama that the NFL is trying to manufacture on Sunday afternoon.